presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
Man, it feels great to be a Duck.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Their competitors, they'll want to put the O on.
Three, got it!
We're going to compete to a standard every day.
The Oregon standard.
Rebound. Up and in. 1 point more to go.
The opportunity to play, put Oregon on your chest, should mean a great deal to you.
Unloads on one into left field. Back toward the wall. Gone!
This program is staged to compete and to win championships.
Oregon wins!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, let's talk Oregon athletics.
It is men's basketball game day, getting ready for a big matchup with Arizona State. ASU off to their best 5-game conference start under 8th-year head coach Bobby Hurley. They're coming to Eugene, and they got their first ever win at Matthew Knight Arena last year in overtime. Snapped a 7-game losing streak in Eugene, the Sun Devils did. So the Ducks looking to get them back here in what is a big-time conference matchup for the Ducks for a few different reasons. One, the net rankings sure are competitive right now. The Ducks entering today, number 65 in the net rankings. Arizona State coming into this matchup at 6 o'clock tonight, televised on Fox Sports 1. Arizona State is number 56 in the net ranking. So the Ducks may, depending on how things shake out, of course, around the rest of the country, it's not a perfect formula. The Ducks may be able to move into the 50s, perhaps jump Arizona State in the net rankings. And they may not only be able to jump Arizona State in the net rankings, but also in the Pac-12 standings, perhaps. UCLA leads the way at 5-0. They've got the Mountain Schools this weekend at home. And UCLA and Utah are the top 2 teams in the conference, and they actually play tonight. That'll be a big one to watch on Pac-12 Network. Utah's 5-1 after their first conference loss this past weekend to the Ducks in Salt Lake City. Arizona State's 4-1. Arizona's 3-2. USC and Oregon also 3-2. Why is that important? If the Ducks take care of business against the Arizona schools, Oregon would jump Arizona State and Arizona. They'd be tied with USC, and then based on the tiebreakers, the way that things could shake out this weekend, if everybody holds court this weekend on that L.A. Mountain School road trip matchup, the Ducks would be in second place in the Pac-12. It could change in a hurry this weekend. Excuse me. Now, Arizona State, I got to tell you, they've surprised me this year. They're 13-3. And traditionally, Bobby Hurley's teams have scored a lot of points, and they've been sort of a giant slayer as a result. They've taken down a couple top 5 teams in Bobby Hurley's 7 years before this year. They've been sort of the giant slayer. But they usually do it by outscoring opponents. This year, they're doing it with defense. They've got one of the best defensive metric ratings in the entire conference. Their turnover margin is second in the conference. They like to turn people over. They like to get out in transition. But they're 5th in the Pac-12 in scoring, and they're actually 11th in field goal percentage and 10th in three-point field goal percentage, and they're 10th in free throw percentage. Not the best offensive numbers, but they are second in the league in assists. They like to get those assists out in transition. They like to force some turnovers, but defensively is where they've been winning. Listen to this. They're giving up less than 65 points per game this year. That's the 3rd best in the league. They're the 2nd best in the league in field goal percentage defense. And they're one of the best in terms of adjusted defensive efficiency. They're 3rd in the league in adjusted defensive efficiency. Now, that's a little different. But the Ducks actually just beat, at least heading into last weekend, they just beat the best defensive team in the league in Utah. Scored 70 points against the team that, according to all the metrics, was the best defensively. So the Ducks have some experience just recently taking down a team that prides themselves on defense. They're going to have to do that against Arizona State. Got to get back in transition and defend them. But the Ducks are going to have to hit some shots, too, against a really good defensive team. Now, they weren't great offensively against Utah, but they did get to the line 25 times, and they hit 17 of them. That was a key statistic. And then points off turnovers. Oregon was able to generate some points off turnovers themselves against Utah. They bought themselves some extra possessions against a really stingy defensive team. I think it's going to have to be a similar formula against Arizona State tonight. 6 o'clock, Fox Sports 1. I also do think, look at that. Tobiah thinks the same thing. Going to have a big night. Oregon wants to win. Dante was dominant at Utah. And we've seen it in those 25 or so minutes when N'Faly Dante is on. Oregon's tough to beat. Now they need those 15 minutes when he's not on the floor from guys like Nate Biddle and Khalil Ware. They need some dominance inside from those guys too. And they do have a shot blocker, Arizona State does, who's done a nice job. Washington, he's been pretty good inside. You know what's interesting with this too? And this is, again, just a reflection of college basketball. That 4 of the 5 top scorers for Arizona State did not begin their careers at ASU. Sort of an example of what college basketball and college sports is, right? The transfer portal changing things. And then also to put in perspective how nice it might be to have Keyshawn Barthelemy back tonight. If everything goes according to plan, Ducks hoping that he's able to go. He did practice this week. Jermaine Couisnard came back this past weekend. The Ducks may go from having 1 ball handler a week and a half ago, to having 3 ball handlers this weekend. The Ducks have had 9 different players make at least 1 start this season. 9 different players have started for the Ducks, and Oregon has used 6 different starting lineup combinations through 16 games so far. I hope that number settles down now. That may be the jolt, if you will, that Oregon needs down the stretch. So Oregon and Arizona State tonight, 6 o'clock. It's the beginning of a big home weekend with both Oregon basketball programs in town. Thursday and Saturday for the men, Friday and Sunday for the women. I got to tell you, I was at Oregon women's practice this morning. It's going to be a good weekend for the Ducks. It's going to be a good weekend. It was fun taking in a little bit of the practice this morning over at Matthew Knight Arena. All right, we're going to do an extended opening segment because Coach Altman met with the media today. Actually, yesterday, I should say. And he kind of broke it all down, what the Ducks are going to expect. Coach Altman meeting with the media, getting ready for Arizona State tonight, Matthew Knight Arena, 6 o'clock.
Feel like Keyshawn will be able to go Thursday or Saturday?
He practiced yesterday, today. The last 2 weeks, he's been doing a lot of individual stuff. I hope he'll be available for a few minutes. Yep.
Just the impact of Couisnard being back too.
Big. That was big. Jermaine did a nice job and gave us another ball handler. Took a little of the pressure off Will to handle the ball all the time. So, and his defensive awareness is very good because of his experience. So, I thought he did a good job.
Is he still on a minutes restriction this week?
I messed up. Felt really bad about that afterwards. Brennan got in foul trouble, and I went brain dead and forgot that I started in the second half. And so I just got to be a little bit more careful with that. And, but, I'll talk to Clay and see what he and the doctors feel like on those guys. So it'll probably be game time, how many minutes they'll be able to play.
Do you look to get Jermaine into the starting lineup now that you've got him?
I don't know. We'll see how things go tomorrow, and I don't know if we'll change things yet. But he's obviously someone that is playing really well, and I'm not sure it's important who starts. It's more important who finishes. So we're going to have a lot of close games, I feel like, down the stretch here. So we've got to figure out a lineup that can really close games.
Regardless of the exact combinations of starts, how important is it with these guys back now, Dana, to see the results change in terms of three-point shooting? That the idea of when you get them back that it would be there, well, there's only kind of one direction to go.
It's got to improve, but Jermaine's played 2 games. It's not going to, and Keyshawn hasn't played in, 6-7 weeks now. So, it's not like turning on a light switch. It'll take some time, but we do have to shoot the ball better. It doesn't take much to figure that out. We got to shoot free throws better. We got to shoot threes better. We're not shooting the ball very well, and we're going to have to shoot it better. There's no doubt.
Someone like Luke, what's allowed him to kind of develop so much over the past year and actually find a role in this team?
he stayed with it, and he's been patient. He had a good practice today. Been a little inconsistent, as a lot of our guys have been. Looking for a little consistency from everyone, and but he's made progress, and he's done some good things.
Dana, back to the three-point shooting. Are you happy primarily with the shots that people are taking and they're just missing good looks? Or do you
Well, I've said it before. Our guys are a little optimistic. Some of them are open for a reason. They have scouting reports too, and so I thought we took too many the other day. Utah, because Dante was 6 for 7, and should have had 20 points. He had 17, and we got the ball inside to Khalil a little bit, into Nate. They were worried about our inside game, and we had some good looks at threes. We just didn't knock enough of them down. But we've got stats now. We played half our season. Guys got to play to their strengths. It's a fine line. Telling the guy, when to shoot it, when not to shoot it. But after practice, which we chart everything, and 16 games, some numbers are pretty obvious. And, you got to play to your strengths. And our strength right now is not shooting the three. We're getting some good looks. But we've got to do a lot better job knocking them down.
He's vastly improved from last season. ASU is just, what's the difference this year?
Defensively, they're really good. Defensively, their activity is good. They're not shooting it much better than we are, but defensively they've been pretty good, and they've won some close games.
Is there an argument to actually go bigger against them because of both the defense and they've got quite a bit of size, particularly with Warren in there in the center, 7-footer?
Warren plays good. They usually have one big. Their four-man's, more mobile than big. So, I don't know if we'll change anything we're doing. We'll try some different combinations, but I'm not sure which way, is going to be more effective. It'd be very challenging because they do have a number of guys that will shoot threes. Their numbers aren't much better than ours, but they do have a number of guys that will shoot it.
What makes him so effective as a passer, Dana? Because, I think in conference play especially, I think he might lead them in assists per game, and that's kind of rare for a 7-footer. Your team is shooting 21% from three in conference.
They, pop out, and he's at the top of the key. They run some of the pair stuff and split stuff that he's got the ball at the top. And, he has made some good passes. He's a willing passer and does a nice job.
Have you guys noticed a sense of urgency among your players since coming back from Christmas at all?
I wouldn't call it a sense of urgency. I think the guys understand we've got to play better. I think our practices have been a little bit more lively. I think our focus at times has been good. And toward the end of practice, you saw where it wasn't very good. We made a lot of mistakes there. So, we're just going to have to continue to get better. And, I told the guys our guaranteed games, we're guaranteed 32, 16 of them are done. And so we're halfway through, and we're going to have to get better. It's January 10th, and we can't make the same mistakes we were making in December. Got to get better. So that translates to a sense of urgency. I'm not sure they picked up on that, but that was what I was saying.
Seems like your team has really just responded after some tough losses. Do you think now, getting some players back, that is going to help with your team's consistency?
It'll definitely help. We've got better ball handlers with the guys coming in. Keyshawn and Jermaine. You saw the impact Jermaine had on the road swing. He was the one bright spot in Colorado. He played good, and he graded out well against Colorado, and he really made a big difference in the Utah game. So getting him back has been really good. He's only played in 2 games, so we've got to keep kind of breaking him in. But getting Keyshawn back will give us another ball handler. Turnovers have been a problem for us. So I would hope that getting a couple ball handlers there would help us in that regard. And the guys have just played too many minutes. We've had some games where Quincy's played, 37-38. Waldo's played 37-38. Will's played 40 a number of times. And I don't think you can give it everything you have, playing that many minutes. So I'd like to get Will at 35, Quincy, down a little bit, get some guys some more activity. And I think those guys, getting healthy helps us do that. Nate getting healthy, Jermaine getting healthy. Now if we can get Keyshawn back, gives us an opportunity to play 9 or 10, 11 guys and work some things around.
You've seen this program have great success. Do you feel like that's kind of out of the picture this season, or what is your expectation? Kind of going.
My expectation is to get better. If we get better, we can make some things happen. Goes day to day. I don't want the guys looking ahead. We got one objective: play the best we can on Thursday night. Then we worry about the next one on Friday. And we've got to get better, though. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt that what we're doing now is not good enough, and we've got to make it progress every day in practice.
Where does Nate's return just help the most for you guys right now?
It just gives us a chance to, break some Quincy, give him a break. He's got to get better defensively. Offensively, he handles it a little better than some of our other guys, our other bigs. So he gives us a ball handler there. But he's got to get better on the defensive end.
World's biggest Nevada fan for the next 8 weeks, Dana? Because of the Q1 aspect of things?
You're trying to give me more things to think about. No, I worry about one team, trying to figure out how we get better. So what can you control? I always told the guys, worry about what they can control. Don't worry about things you can't control. So that's what we've got to do as a team. Just rebound the ball, which we can do. Get a lot better defensively. Quit turning the darn thing over. And eventually we got to hit some shots. We're a better shooting team than what we showed. We've shown sometimes in practice. We just got to start hitting some shots.
What's the number you're in an ideal world? If clearly 21% is not it.
You
so
think?
Yeah. So what's the number that you think you're actually capable of? Is it 31?
We would like to get mid-30s would be great for this team and where we're at now. So we've had teams that have really made a jump as the season's progressed. So Will's a better shooter. Maybe some guys can make Will some more shots. We can get him some more threes. We want him to be aggressive. Quincy's shooting a little better now. I think he's up to 36. So 35, 36, something like that. So, we just got to get the right people shooting them, get them on balance. But we do have to shoot the ball better, and we got to shoot it better from the free throw line. We could have stayed in the Colorado game, hitting a few free throws, the first half, and even as poorly as we were playing, just stay in the game. And we didn't hit free throws. So, got to shoot the ball better, but there are a lot of things involved. Rebounding, getting some good opportunities there, some putbacks like we did the other day. Transition, maybe with a few more guys, we can get that floor open a little bit more and get down a little bit. So a lot of factors in it. We haven't been able to play very fast. We haven't been able to get as many turnovers. A big factor the other night, we got 20 points off turnovers, which we haven't been getting. And I think the added depth have helped there. So a lot of factors involved, but shooting the ball, hitting free throws would definitely help our ball club.
What do you think of Jackson Shelsted's just growth this year? You were at the LSI a couple of weeks ago, just his play.
I'm really impressed with what he's doing, and he's grown each year because he works so hard. He's in the gym, he's working on his body all the time. He wants to be a baller, and so I'm looking forward to working with him, and I think he's going to be a nice addition. I'm excited about the guys we've got coming in. They're all playing pretty good, and but we got a lot of things to worry about this year before we worry about that. But to answer your question, Jackson's a really good player, and I look forward to working with him.
Wasn't that amazing? Coach Altman talking about Jackson Shellstad, one of the commits for next year's class, and that's you're always balancing that as a coaching staff, right? Like you got a lot to worry about this year, but then next year you got to be thinking about that too. You're always building toward the future. Dana Altman talking about the 6 o'clock game tonight against Arizona State. When we come back and hear a little bit from Jermaine Couisnard, so stick with us on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota's got 20 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/22.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Dear winter, Toyota's got 20 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/22.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
The United States Deputy Sheriff's Association is a national nonprofit and the largest non-governmental provider of services to law enforcement. The USDSA assists city, county, state, and federal agencies with free safety equipment donations and officer survival training, along with cash donations to families of law enforcement officers who perish in the line of duty, college scholarships for the children of law enforcement, a citizen awareness program, and more. For more information on the USDSA and how you can help, visit usdeputy.org.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen.
For late nights writing English papers.
For your teen's music taste.
For dinners where they talk more on their phone than with you.
For the first time, they call you mom.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen, and you can't imagine the reward.
To learn more about adopting a teen, visit adoptuskids.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you. 6 o'clock tonight, Oregon takes on Arizona State. And the great news last weekend, Jermaine Couisnard made his return for the Ducks. Gives Oregon another ball handler, allowed Will Richardson to play off the ball a little bit, and he's one of the better catch-and-shoot guys the Ducks have. Remember, Will Richardson led the conference in three-point field goal shooting percentage as a sophomore. So now, if you can give him more opportunities to catch and shoot, just step into a three, I think that percentage is going to go up for the Ducks. Also, Jermaine Couisnard, he shot about 34-35% from three one season at South Carolina. It really gives Oregon some much-needed depth in the backcourt. And now that he's played his minute restriction games this past weekend, I would expect Jermaine Couisnard to be a bigger impact player for the Ducks here against Arizona State tonight. Jermaine Couisnard met with the media after practice this week to get ready for this homestand against the Sun Devils.
Well, Coach talked about after the Utah game that he felt he messed up when he played for that first 9-11 minutes there, the second half, and blew well past the minutes restriction. How'd you feel on the flight home and just recovery-wise?
My recovery's been great. I haven't had any pain until today. I had bumped knees with somebody. So, but other than that, it's been cool. Just I didn't feel anything but I felt like a step slower. So I feel what he was saying.
What do you feel like you're capable of minutes-wise at this point?
I'm ready to play. Whatever they were willing to give me. So I'm ready.
How do you feel like that first game like Thursday? I'm sure there was some disappointment in how the outcome played out, but individually, you're probably pretty pleased you were able to get out there and play.
Yeah, in fact, because that's how I've been. I was just worried about how I'll move like a defender because I ain't played in the game. So I was just how I'll move, how my legs will. But I feel good out there.
Obviously not what you wanted to start the season injured for so long, but how good does it feel to be out there playing with your team as they're finally having an impact?
Oh, I feel good. I haven't played a game since probably March, early March. So I feel kind of good getting back into it. So it was cool.
Was it hard having to just sit out and watch it all go down and not be a part of it?
Yeah,
anything that you learned while you were kind of seeing it from that
Yeah, just be grateful that you can play. That's what I learned. Just don't take no days for granted. Just let me go to work every day.
Obviously, you got to get yourself back into shape and whatnot. But how do you like coming off the bench? That wasn't something you did quite a bit at South Carolina.
Yeah, it's cool. You just know, like, you watch the game. So I've been playing a little longer. So I just know, like, what we need, like, going into the game. So that's, like, my experience.
For this ASU game in particular, just what do you see from Horn? What makes him
Say that again?
for this ASU game in particular? What do you see from Horn? What makes him a challenge?
Oh, they're heady guards. They heady guard. They like scoring. They like attacking, playing out the bounce a lot. So that's what we know, that we got to contain them off the dribble, and they're gonna take crazy shots. So just make them take a lot of contested crazy shots.
You seem to be emphasizing transition defense. Is that going to be a key thing for you guys?
Yeah.
Fans haven't seen it from you just yet by way of three-point shooting, only a couple of game sample. What do you feel like you're capable of in terms of percentage-wise? Is the team needs more threes, needs a much better shooting percentage. What do you feel like you can bring to the table there?
I just know, like, with me running, I ain't got the leg, like the game leg. So as a couple games, I'm shooting better. So just keep getting here working every day. Just keep working on my shot. It'll fall for everybody. I feel like if once you put the work in, the results will show.
Jermaine Couisnard talking with the media, getting ready for Arizona State tonight. You know, the conditioning is interesting in particularly in basketball. It's not just like, do you have the conditioning to play hard for those minutes? It's also the spring in your shot and the bounce from outside. It's all those things. And so how Jermaine Couisnard feels this week must feel better than last week. And moving forward, him, Keyshawn Bartholomew, Nate Biddle, all these guys that have given the Ducks some extra minutes now changes things. And I do want to say, it's not just in the games. It's also what the Ducks can do in practice. The walk-ons and the practice players have had to put in a lot more work this year than any other year that I've seen over the last 6 seasons that I've been doing play-by-play for the men. That matters. When you can go 5-on-5 and 1s and 2s, get the competitiveness because you want to move up from the 2s to the 1s when you're having 5-on-5 scholarship players going at it, that makes a difference in practice over the course of a season. That's what the Ducks now have for the first time, really, since they were on their foreign tour in Canada over the summer. Good sign for the Ducks moving forward. 6 o'clock tonight, 5:30 pregame show. We'll talk with Coach Altman. Updates on Keyshawn Bartholomew as he goes through warm-ups as well. Maybe that could be an X factor for the Ducks against Arizona State. They used to brand themselves as Guard U. That's not all they are, though. Now, Warren Washington, about 2 blocks a game. They've got a rim presence. I think Thinfali Dante could be a real key in this game. Not just rebounding, but maybe scoring the basketball as well. Got to limit those turnovers, too. All right, when we come back, we had part 1 of our conversation yesterday with Nils Schelander, part 2 with the Oregon men's tennis head coach when we come back to the Country Financial Studio on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the Lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in,
Spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Heard from Coach Altman and Jermaine Couisnard getting ready for hoops tonight. Of course, women's basketball on the horizon Friday and Sunday against the Washington schools as well. Terry Johnson, Bev Smith will have the call for you. Yesterday, we sat down with Oregon men's tennis head coach Nils Schelander for about 25 minutes. And we didn't have time on the show yesterday to get to all of it because Coach Schelander is such a great interview. So part 3 of our conversation, if you missed it and you don't have time to tune into yesterday's show. To recap, we discussed a little bit about what the fall has been like. So much individual success, because remember, in tennis, the fall season is all individual. It's not a lot of the team aspect. It's a lot of individual competitions, building pro points, and then adding to the individual rankings. The Ducks have a top 15 doubles ranked squad heading into the spring season now. And we're 8 days away from the start of Oregon men's tennis season coming up on the 20th when they'll resume their season. Also talked with Coach Schelander about being the longest tenured head coach in the Oregon athletic department. How about that? And we had to discuss if he's got any great old apparel, and he does. By the way, on the old apparel front, well, more on that coming up today. We're going to have some fun with it. Our conversation continuing with Oregon men's tennis head coach Nils Schelander. I do want to ask you a little bit about the long season, and I'm always kind of curious with sports in general and for coaches, especially because there's a lot of individual work. There's individual tournaments that go on in the summer. Then there's the team period. You're practicing all the time. Do you have to manage like a workload as a coach? Like, do you have to sometimes tell your student athletes, okay, no, you need to take a break. You need to take time off.
Absolutely. I mean, some of them work too much and they're so driven, but sometimes rest is the best practice you can get.
Right.
If you're not healthy and your body's going to break down, you can have no success.
Yeah.
But, it is taxing because you look at it. We have our fall season, which is important, and then the team season that is, the meat of our season. And then these guys, they have aspirations. So when our seasons are over, it's not like it's over for them. They go out on their own. They travel the world, play events, try to pick up ATP points, pro points, to kind of get a head start of that on that life after college.
Interesting.
So literally, there's not many weeks off in a year for them.
Schedule coming up, Utah State, the first opponent. It's an 11 a.m. start on Friday, January 20th. We're 9 days away from the start of men's tennis season. The schedule, tell fans about the home schedule, the schedule as a whole that you put together.
It's good. I mean, we pride ourselves in our schedule. We try to play a very competitive schedule. I always say I'd rather be 12-11 and play unreal competition than be 20-3 and have 12 of those matches be easy.
Yeah.
You don't get better. And you're not going to be your best at the end of the year. We want to be challenged every time out.
You got some highlights on the home schedule I know that you wanted to hit on.
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, conference speaks for itself, right? Yeah. It's basically taking any conference match is a deep into the NCAA tournament kind of a match. Pac-12 is that in most Olympic sports, or I'd say pretty much all of them. But even out of conference, we got Texas Tech coming into the building. They always have a strong team. BYU. There's a lot. San Diego, who was, I believe, top 20 last year. They actually got us pretty good down there. We plan on rectifying that this year, and when we get them indoors. But there is a lot of top 25 non-conference teams scheduled to come to the Student Tennis Center, and we're pretty tough in there.
How far ahead do you schedule for a spring season?
Couple of years.
Really? So like this schedule, you had to be making this in like 2019, 2020 sort of a thing?
Yeah, and then you schedule about 90% of it, and then you keep a couple dates open that you schedule late.
So you've got a schedule spreadsheet that's out to like 2026?
Yeah. It's pretty much spot on right there.
We're
almost done with 25 right now.
That's wild.
So I mean, we have some dates locked in 26.
So you're kind of projecting like we think this is going to be a good opponent for us based on.
Absolutely. You see who's going to be graduating, who's going to be back, and it's pretty traditional. The strong programs stay strong.
Sure.
But you also try to get like, okay, this school is going to lose 5.
Right.
They'll probably be a little bit down.
Interesting.
And it's a science.
Yeah, I just see college football famously is like a decade and a half.
I know, right? But that's some serious money involved there.
Oh man, but for every coach, I'm always fascinated by the way that you all play Tetris with each other.
Absolutely.
Trying to piece together.
It
That's
is.
weird.
And we do a lot of home and aways.
Yeah.
So we'll say we got Texas Tech here this year, we go there next year.
Right.
We played Northwestern at home this past season, we go to Chicago next year to play them.
Interesting.
So a lot of them you kind of keep them going traditionally when you have a good, strong non-conference opponent.
Neil Sheelander joining us talking men's tennis. We're 9 days away from the start of the season. And remind fans again that Washington date.
February 17th, 5 p.m. Don't miss it.
That's a good one.
Don't miss it. It's going to be fun. I promise you that.
It's on a Friday. Perfect timing on a Friday at 5 o'clock. You said something interesting that I always think is a unique quality to tennis compared to a lot of other sports, that the playing surface really matters.
It does.
We see that in the Grand Slams, and you said something I thought was interesting, that San Diego, you're going to get them indoors. Changes things a little bit.
No, it changes the speed of the game.
Yeah.
You take the wind out of the play. There's no sun there, and tends to play quicker indoors.
Sure.
I mean, the elements slow things down.
Yeah.
Just like I'm sure it's similar in many other sports, and you go and play in altitude. That's like playing pinball. You try to avoid that at all costs, right?
Really?
Yeah.
So you don't like playing at altitude?
It's a different sport.
That's interesting.
It's probably the biggest home court advantage in tennis.
And it's not just because of the conditioning; it's the way the ball plays.
Oh, it's different. It's so different.
Wow.
It's literally. An altitude team is going to be almost 2 points better in a home match.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Because like in baseball, you talk about like the ball flies further, less air resistance, and you talk about the conditioning.
Yeah, you don't get the same spin on the ball. How many thousand of reps do you have hitting the ball, and all of a sudden the ball travels 2 yards longer?
That's interesting.
You have to change your whole stroke.
That's interesting. So don't play teams at altitude. That's what I've learned today.
Unless you have to.
Yeah.
But then you do it and you win.
Or is it a disadvantage when those teams then come down?
Absolutely, but it's not. They're used to playing it. It's easier to play on sea level. Much easier. That's a much easier adjustment. They're actually usually happy to come down to sea level.
Interesting.
But they also don't go crazy when they play in altitude. I mean, our guys go there, and it's like, what is this, coach?
Right. We don't want to do this again.
Yeah, I know.
I get that. Well, I did want to ask you, before I forget about Coach Spencer, I always like to have a head coach talk about their staff and just what your associate head coach has meant to the program.
He's unbelievable. I mean, first of all, he's a Duck through and through, right?
Yeah.
He grew up in the community. He played here. I actually worked with him when he was a junior player, so I've known him since he was a young lad.
Yeah.
But the passion he brings to it every day, and he's exceptional one-on-one on developing players. And he's just awesome. And it's rare. I wouldn't say it's rare, but to the extreme that he cares as much as the head coach does. I mean, he lives, breathes, sleeps, walks Duck tennis.
Yeah.
And it probably drives our wives crazy, but we'll, at 6 a.m, we'll talk.
Yeah.
11 o'clock at night, we'll talk. And it's just constant, but he's as invested as I am and the guys are, and I'm very fortunate to have him.
Student athlete at Oregon from 2002 to 2006, and I got to think that for somebody as talented as he is, it's nice to have longevity with an assistant coach in your position, right?
No, absolutely.
How big of a deal is that he's in his fifth year now?
It's huge because we're an extension of each other at this point. And, I worked with Coach Peeber before. I had him for a decade.
Yeah.
So I've been very lucky. But I also think it speaks volumes for the programs. It's not a place you just go to further yourself. You come here and you love it, and you love being part of it. And like I said, Coach Spencer, he is a Duck through and through.
That's cool. All right, I do want to ask you a little bit about your roster. Strengths of the roster, some of the newcomers for fans to know about as you piece together your lineup.
Absolutely. I mean, it's it's a lot of new faces this year. I feel like it's probably the deepest team I've ever had.
Really?
On paper, we're good. Paper doesn't win anything, but it's a good start.
Yeah.
You know, we have the battle-tested guys up top, and they've proven they can do it. And, you know, we had a lot of depth. Raylo had a very good finish to the fall. He transferred him from Wichita State, so he's got experience of playing at a high level, and because Wichita State is usually a top program, they're always in the NC2As. You know, Vlad Briasu came from Romania. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of him. He's a great addition. He's going to be fun to watch for the fans. Crazy energy. It's like watching that little bunny with the batteries on his back, right?
Really?
Just going crazy. You know, pure energy. Just loves the game. Great teammate. Has played at a very high international level. You know, and Ivaio last year played 3 for us, right? He had a broken wrist all fall last year. Did not hit a backhand. Couldn't come over the ball. He had to slice it for 4 months. And now he's healthy. So we look at a big things. And he won a lot at 3 for us.
Yeah.
And now he's healthy. So he's a complete different player. You know, Jesper, has he lost yet for 4 years? I don't know.
Probably not.
I mean, I think he was like 21-4 a couple of years ago in dual matches. He's just a beast.
Wild.
So I'm excited. You know,
I could tell.
Yeah, Luke's back. You know, he's a senior. Quinn's older brother. He had some huge wins for us last year. Beat Pepperdine when I think they were like 16 in the country, 14 in the country, something like that. When we upset him, he had a huge win for us. Same thing. He clinched against ASU, a tiebreaker in the 3rd set. So yeah, it's good. It's good.
So you're excited. A lot of depth.
Absolutely.
Keys to success. So what's it going to take to get what you want to be?
Doubles. We win the doubles. It's going to be hard to find 4 points in singles against us. Yeah. You know, if we win that doubles point, I challenge anyone to find 4 points.
All right.
So that's what depth will do, right?
You can come back anytime.
Thank you. I like it.
Nils Schielander, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Hey,
always a pleasure.
It is always our pleasure. And again, the best stuff that's in the studio came from this man.
I know. I got to up my game now. I need to go to some slams here this year and get some good stuff for you.
Well, thank you
preemptively,
but also next time I challenge you, I want to see the 1999 swag.
I'll find something.
Yeah.
I might have to dig deep.
That's all right.
But I'll come in.
When you're back on here in the next few weeks as the season gets rolling.
You want some swag on me?
On you.
All right.
I don't
What about I find some for you?
No, you don't need to do that.
Are you
don't
sure?
need to do that. I want to see.
I mean, I hear you're wearing socks with Ulmer's face on them.
I mean, if we can
if you do that and you won't put on a tennis shirt from '99.
Oh no, I'm in.
Okay, good.
I'm in. I'll do it. I just don't want you to have to give something to me. You know?
No. We'll suit you up.
I'm just challenging for you to have the awesome.
All right, we'll do it. We'll do it tandem.
I'll do it. I like
Sounds
that.
good.
I like that. Should we do a giveaway at the tennis center with socks with your face on them?
Oh gosh. Oh, all right. That would be.
It'd be something.
It would be something. That's right.
Have you seen the Ulmer socks?
Yeah, and they get regifted. I have seen the Ulmer socks, but those are high. I mean, the season he had, those things are a treasure.
Yeah, and don't worry, fans, we're gonna do it again.
But
much to Matt's chagrin.
Yeah, one with my face, that would be regifted so quickly.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'd wear them.
You're probably the only one.
No. Coach Spencer would wear them.
Well, because I'd make him.
The student athletes would wear them.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, sure they would. Supporting their coach.
Oh, you're killing me.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for being here. Always appreciate it.
My pleasure.
I don't think it was his pleasure, but he did it nonetheless. Nils Schielander, Oregon men's tennis head coach. So there you go. Socks. Who knew that? If you told like 10 years ago me, like 19-year-old me, that your shtick is going to be that you wear weird socks and people think it's fun. I've made it. Yep, that's what it takes. All right, when we come back, a couple of fun thoughts from Armon Gates from our Tip-Off Tuesday conversation. Back to basketball, we're going to review a bit of our coach's show and then get ready for Arizona State tonight on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, Duck fans! The official 2022 Oregon football trading cards are now available exclusively at your local Oregon Jackson's food stores. The cards feature over 100 of your favorite Duck football student athletes from the 2022 season. Each pack contains 14 cards, and 1 out of every 10 packs will contain a special edition signed card, so be sure to collect them all to complete your set. Visit Jacksons.com for store locations.
Jacksons. Let's go.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Ready for our little forest adventure?
Yes! So much waiting for me. Yeah, I wanna go outside. I wanna be.
We're here.
Whoa, that was fast.
There's a forest closer than you think. Find a park or forest near you and music inspired by nature at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by USDA Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You're not too cool for me. And in return, I reciprocate that sentiment. I'll never be too cool for you. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. Please let it be noted that I told my job they can dock my pay. Right now, it's just too important to take you to school every day. I want to be legendary for you. I want you to puff out your chest when you go to school, the same way I do. I walk taller because of you, because I found everything to live for.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Heard from Dana Altman earlier, always brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. Getting ready for a big matchup tonight between Oregon and Arizona State. We won't be able to play the entire conversation for you from Tip-Off Tuesday here on Duck Insider. And again, I know many of you will probably listen to Tip-Off Tuesday. You'll tune in for Tip-Off Tuesday, basketball-centric coaches show every Tuesday. But then I also know there are some that you're used to only tuning in for Duck Insider. And this time of year, I like to have some overlap between those two programs that we do, because Terry and I spend a lot of time talking with the various coaches and student athletes from these two programs. And Armon Gates, he's, first of all, just a great guy. Second of all, great coach. Glad that he's in his first year here at Oregon. We caught up with him on Tip-Off Tuesday, and I want to let you listen in, getting to know what Armon Gates thought about the weekend that was, and now getting ready for a big matchup with Arizona State. Okay, second time in the Country Financial Studio, but the first time on Tip-Off Tuesday. Coach Gates.
What's going on, baby?
How are you?
Hey, good.
Things
Excited
are good?
to be here. Yes, sir.
Thanks for coming over. So we were just talking before we got rolling here, because it used to be in the pre-Coach Gates era, the men's basketball offices were just around the corner from the studio. Now you guys are in the big fancy offices over on Villard Street. So thanks for making the trek.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it. How's it been going? You feel settled in yet here mid-season?
You know what? Settled in. Getting adjusted. My family's still getting adjusted, but me personally, I've been fully adjusted. Still getting used to the different personnel in the offices and also the team. But they welcome me with open arms.
You are I'll describe you this way, and correct me if I'm wrong. You are a social guy.
Yes, sir.
You like to talk to people, kind of hear their story. I got to tell you that I really appreciate that, because there are times where I'll walk around and someone's new, and I'm like, boy, what's the right time to shake hands and meet you? And you just walk right up to people. Have you always been that way?
Absolutely. People's person. And that's what I love about this business and about the job is connecting with others and really hearing other stories, because everyone comes from different walks of lives. You learn so many things from different people. This game of basketball, I've been fortunate, man, to travel so many different places and, again, meet so many different folks, sit in many different people's living rooms, and, again, just be around great folks, great people that teach me the way to do things the right way.
Well, you were on Duck Insider when you first started here at Oregon, so I won't do the full 2-minute life story with you again. So fans, if you're curious, Duck Insider from earlier this year, you can find it on social media and, of course, on YouTube as well with Coach Armon Gates. Colorado game. I got to ask you about it. Didn't go well.
Right.
So a game like that takes place. What's the mood like in the locker room? And then maybe more importantly, What's the mood like at practice the next day? Can you kind of take fans through the process as a staff and what you guys were able to do to get the turnaround going?
No, absolutely. After a game like that, honestly, this hasn't been the first time that I've been a part of a game like that. First of all, been different places in the Big Ten and just all over the board, college ball. Game like that, you just throw that you throw that film out right away. You try to keep the team morale high. Don't let them sink down too low. Make them feel the hurt in their inside in their belly a little bit, and just let them know it's not going to happen again. But with a quick turnaround, that's a good thing about college basketball and not college football, where you have to wait the whole week and relish then. You relish in a moment for a quick second, and then you gotta forget about it. So what Coach Altman did, and I see why he's been so successful. Again, I've been a sponge in this thing, man. Hey guys, we know what happened. We're not even going to watch film. We're going to burn that tape, and we have to move on to Utah. So Colorado, they handed it to us. They came off of a bad loss to California, supposedly on paper a bad loss, but in college sports, you got to come play every night. Yeah. And that night, I think we looked at they're coming off that loss to Cal. We coming in thinking we were just going to come do it and beat them and take it to them, but they caught us off guard and we just weren't ready.
And then the response, though. I'm always so impressed with the way that teams can do that, because do you find that coaches, maybe it hurts a little longer than it does for players?
Oh, my gosh. It definitely hurts. So as a coach, you have to put that front on. You have to make sure your players can get over the moment quicker than you. And that's a good thing. And you see it's different ways to do things now. Yeah. Coach Altman, he immediately after that game, fellas, we know what happened. Let's get rid of that tape. All right, because 1 could turn to 2, 2 could turn to 3 if you don't bounce back right away. Yeah. And we had a one-day turnaround, so we had to get ready for a really, really good Utah team.
And a plane ride in between.
And a plane ride in between. And, as the players, you hope that your players can hold court on their own and talk about it in their hotel rooms and have a team-only meeting to say, hey, this is not happening again. But as a coach, it definitely hurts a lot more. Like, these guys didn't follow the scouting report the right way. They weren't listening. They weren't locked in. They didn't approach the game the way we thought they would have, And that's the immaturity level that you'll get sometime, and that's where a player-led team is much better than a coach-led team.
Yeah, I've heard so many coaches over the years say that you got to have that player leadership, because that makes a huge difference. So what went so right on the floor against Utah? Because I felt like, Coach, I said this to Coach Altman post-game when I talked to him, like, just the energy out the gate. You guys had to be a lot happier with that.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, you heard this before as well, that sometimes teams play to the level of their competition.
Sure.
And again, on paper, you had Utah at the top of the standings, and our guys were ready. They heard so many good things about those guys, and guess what? On film, they looked really, really good. And our guys, they just really wanted to bounce back from that Colorado game and in a good way. And I'm going to tell you one thing. After that Colorado game, Coach Altman said, we're going to play much harder, we're going to play much tougher, and we're going to be a little bit more physical. He didn't leave it in their hands. He just told them his demands. And, again, I'm learning, I'm watching, and I'm listening. I'm doing everything to be a sponge in the moment to work for a Hall of Fame coach and with this great staff. And when those words came out of his mouth, you just saw everybody's eyes just locked in like, man, we're Oregon. Hey, this can't happen again. And guess what? Our guys came out and we really played to our strengths. We got the ball inside to Dante. Dante, whenever he felt like he didn't have a good shot, he kicked it out, and we made some shots. And it's an amazing thing. When you make shots, man, it's a little bit easier on that defense.
Makes a huge difference on that defense. Armon Gates, talking with him. Man, it was a big turnaround for the Ducks. They're going to need to continue that tonight. Final preview when we come back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota's got 20 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/22.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Dear winter, Toyota's got 20 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/22.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
We are back inside the Country Financial Studio. It's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. We were talking with Neil Sheelander about just the best old school stuff that you've got around. Well, I got to tell you, so Sophie Lead, one of our interns, Quack Video, she's directing the show today. She's got a gang green sweatshirt on.
Yeah, I do.
I mean, look at this. To the 95 Rose Bowl, the gang green sweatshirt. Where did you get it from again?
My mom got it for me.
Wow. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. Gang green. Let's hope for gang green defense on the basketball floor tonight, huh? Ducks, Arizona State, 6 o'clock, 5:30 pregame show here on the Oregon Sports Network. See you at Matthew Knight Arena tonight.
To your children's eyes to see the true magic of a forest. It's a storybook world for them. You look and see a tree. They see the wrinkled face of a wizard with arms outstretched to the sky. They see treasure in pebbles. They see a windy path that could lead to adventure. And they see you, their fearless guide to this fascinating world.
Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have